Welcome. I'm so happy to see you all. This is my truest bliss. I love, 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 love doing this process, getting clarity, especially around the seasons. And I extra especially love doing it with a group of people. So thank you for saying yes to this. And just a note of appreciation for the fact of it takes effort and attention and intention to carve time on a Saturday to do this. So thank you. And really, I'm appreciating you, and I would encourage you to appreciate yourselves for making this happen. So whether you're here with me on the call right now or you're listening to the recording, either way, well done. And my intention is to make it valuable and to really offer you a lovely walk to explore what you have going on and how you want to meet it all this summer. So we're going to get started. I'm going to settle us in a moment. But I want to say that so I've been doing this kind of work for years and years and years. Often I did it as a once a year, start the year, kick off the year, best year yet. It was called a bunch of different things, but that was the gist. And then a few years back, I started doing it more seasonally. And I have noticed in the last couple of years when I've done it very intentionally, but then also I haven't done it certain seasons. What I notice is that when I take this time to really put pen to paper and have a conversation with myself about the season ahead and what I value about it and how I want to meet it and the ways I want to be feeling and some intentions and some ways that I want to be fortifying myself so that I can show up and really sink in and savor or delight or be in awe, whatever my intention is for that season. What I've come to be very clear in myself. It's a knowing. It's not just a thinking or a feeling. It's a knowing that when I stop and really consider what's ahead and really dial in, the season is more rich, it's more satisfying, it's more fulfilling. It feels like I'm really driving the car of that season, that I'm really in it. I have agency. And so that's what I want to share with you. So the way this is going to work. So I've done this for years and I'm always refining it. It's never the same. Some of you have been with me for years, so some of it will be familiar. But some of it might be a little different than you've experienced it before. And what I want to say is that this is a process that I actually use for almost everything. So whether it's preparing for this actual call, I did this process. If it's just heading into the weekend, usually at some point, not every, but most weekends, I will sit down and use these prompts or a version of them just to really consider, what's on my plate and how do I want to meet it all. I use it for trips. I use it for projects. But most of all, I really think I use it for sorting out the season. So that's what we're going to do today. So for those of you who are new to this with me, welcome. I mean, welcome everybody. Welcome back if you've been with me for years doing this. Welcome if you're brand new. Everyone is welcome. I love that you're here. So getting clarity on the season ahead, there's lots of different ways you could do that. So what I'm going to do is offer you my process and I'll be doing it with you. So basically I'm going to be sharing a series of writing prompts, little questions, little prompts to get you hearing yourself. And the way that I like to do this, that works well for me, is I use short prompts with short blocks of time. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you the prompt, then I'm going to have you write that down. Then I'm going to go ahead and tell you a little bit about what I mean and give you a couple of examples, not to influence what you write, but just to make sure that it's clear of what I'm sort of inviting you to get at. And then I'll let you know how long. I'll start the timer, off we go. So that's how I do it. And it's similar to me taking you on a hike. I'm going to do it the way I do it. Oh, I might point out these flowers over here. I might invite you to consider that tree over there. So if you want to stick with me and be on my hike, great. That's what I'm inviting you to do. And if you get into this and you want to take a different route, you get into one prompt and you're like, oh, I need to hear what I have to say about that way longer than what Carrie is giving me time for. You have two options. One is go with it. Just trust yourself and use this time to go in a direction that feels really right for you. Or make a note in your journal or whatever you're writing on and say, come back to this and really commit to doing that. So lots of ways to do this. I'm going to share my ways and invite you to play along. And I encourage you to hold it all very lightly. Like there's nothing serious happening here. All we're doing is just trying to settle ourselves a little bit, go inward, maybe listen a little bit less to our thoughts, get a little more in touch with our hearts, and then really tap into some of that deeper knowing, which is in there. But sometimes it just needs a little space and a little guidance to come through. So that's what we're going to do. So what I want to do before we even do anything else, just to get the juices flowing, is get us just doing a quick writing on what am I going for here? So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to give you the first prompt. We're going to do a little writing. Then we're going to take a couple moments to settle ourselves because I really want to land. Mostly it's for me, but I'm going to invite you to do it too. And then we will get into the writing. So there's not going to be a lot of talking. This is much more about you hearing you. And it'll all make sense as we go. So before we jump in, I want to just give us a moment, 2 minutes specifically, to hear what we're going for from this time. So very simple prompt. What's my intention for this call? And what I mean by that is, what do I hope to get out of this? How do I want to feel at the end of this experience? And I'm going to pop that in the chat. So you'll see what what I'm asking you to do. Oops. All right. So what's my intention for this call? And then the questions that you can use to get in there. What do I hope to get out of this? And then, how do I want to feel at the end of this experience? So just open up to that. It might be, I want to feel more clear. I want to feel more sorted out about my summer. I want to feel like I experimented with writing a little differently than I ever have. Again, I'm going to throw out a couple of examples just because I know it's useful, but let it go and just listen to yourself. So 2 minutes. What's my intention for this call? Take a moment to breathe and then see what comes through. Okay, beautiful. All right, so now that we've taken that little bit of time, let's go ahead and take a couple minutes just to settle in. So put your pens down, get a little comfortable, make sure that you're on mute. And if you want to, you can leave your camera on. I like to turn mine off while I'm doing settlings just because I can get a little more present in myself. You are welcome to do either. But I'm going to invite you just to take a big breath. Take a nice deep breath. And just look around. Look at your life here and now. And start to bring your awareness inside your body. Sometimes I like to say, let's bring ourselves in for a landing. Another metaphor I really love is imagining that you're inside a snow globe and it's been shaking all morning, all week, all year. And for this little bit of time, we're just going to get nice and still and let all the beautiful snowflakes fall to the bottom and settle. And if you haven't already, just let your eyes gently close. Keep them nice and soft. And bring your awareness to your breath. And count 5 in on your next inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And on the exhale, count out 5. Five in and 5 out. Just allow your forehead, your jaw, your neck, your shoulders, your sinuses, let it all settle, soften, relax, release. Just allow a little more space in your head. We're just going to invite lightening and loosening. Now gently bring your shoulders back. Sit up a little bit straighter. Take a nice deep breath in. And on the exhale, just really let go. Just see if you can invite a little more space. A little more slowing down. Now drop into your heart and just imagine really being present with that beautiful muscle that does so much and also allows for so much love and compassion. You can put a hand on your heart or just bring your awareness to the heart space. And just be open to noticing your pulse, noticing your heartbeat, noticing that rhythm. It doesn't require you to do anything, just happens. Just imagine lightening and loosening all the molecules in your chest and your heart space, and just letting everything soften and release a little bit more. And bring your shoulders back and really invite your heart to be a little more present, a little more the leader today. Really invite your heart to share when you're doing your writing. Just before we move down to our abdomen, say a nice, warm, really loving thank you for your heart and all it does for you and all the wisdom that's there. And release any tension in your hands. Allow your arms to really get heavy and soft, and then drop down into your abdomen. And invite that deeper part of you, that knowing, that wise isness that is your true being to come forth and allow more space to just hear, just be with. Really take a couple deep breaths, imagining that you're filling your abdomen on each inhale. Take a moment to check in on the snow globe and just notice, how's the swirl happening? Do you feel like things are settling? Is it still a little blustery? Whatever it is, just allow it, name it, be with it. Invite a little more settling with a deep breath that really goes all the way through your body down into your legs. Just imagining filling your whole self up with a big, deep, slow breath. Take another deep, slow, full body breath. And on your exhale, release your butt muscles and your pelvis and your abdomen and your chest and your shoulders and your forehead. Really loosen it all up. And remind yourself, I am here now. One more thank you for taking the time to do this. And start to wiggle fingers and toes and bring yourselves back. All right. So here we are, summer of 2023, and we're right on the precipice of it. So let's take some time to check in and sort ourselves out. So I'm going to be very clear with a couple things. One is this is recorded, and I will be sharing the recording. So if you can't stay for the whole thing, just know that you'll receive a link so you can check it out later and finish it up later. And I'm not selling anything on this call. A lot of times, there's other times in my career that I've done calls like this where I'm doing it so that I can tell you about the thing I'm doing next. Right now, there's nothing that I'm selling. However, this is intended to give you a taste of where I'm heading in the fall. I have realized that these seasonal clarity calls are unbelievably valuable in my own life and with a lot of the people that I'm doing coaching work with. So I wanted you to have a taste of it. I wanted it both to be useful in the moment of helping you sort yourself out and to give you a chance to really try something on that I'll be offering later. So just know that. And there'll be two more. There's going to be one right before my birthday in July. And then there'll be one in August, right before, summer's kind of moving toward kids going back to school and the fall months. So I hope you join me for those too. But right now, let's do this. So if you're practiced in this kind of writing, this sort of self-clarity writing, great. Just dive deep, go with it, jump in, take it and run. If you're brand new to this or you haven't done it with me, also great. Just be playful with it. What I like to do is invite people to run experiments and just think of this as a little play date that we're having. Mainly you're having it with yourself. I'm going to help you move through it. So go inward, listen, and trust what you hear. And what I like to remind people is that's the power of the pen, that there's something that often gets known that can be heard differently when we use the pen to write it than we use our mind to think it. So while you're with me, experiment with keeping the pen moving. And if you feel like, oh, I wrote and I didn't really, I wrote out what I got, but there's still time. Carrie hasn't said time's up yet. Write the prompt again and see what else comes through. What I often find is that I might write for the first few minutes of a chunk of writing. And it's not until like the last few seconds that I really get oh, that's what I needed to hear. So play with that. You're here, you committed to this. Let's see what happens. Let's do it. All right, so deep breath. Bring your whole self with you, your mind, your heart, your gut, your body. And let's start by checking in on where we've been. So the first prompt is very simply, when I look back on the year so far, what's been meaningful? So here we are, it's June of 2023. We've had almost a half of the year go by, which is remarkable. And all I want us to do is take a moment to look back and really consider what's been meaningful. And what I mean by that is what's been meaningful in your relationships with yourself. So you and your people, and you and your world. So write that. And then I'm going to say just one more little thing, give you an example of what I mean, a couple examples. And then we'll get started and we'll do about 3 minutes on that. So again, when I look back on the year so far, what's been meaningful? And what I mean are some examples is, oh, maybe you stepped up your self-care. Maybe you took a course that you really learned a lot from. Maybe you're just appreciating that you're wrapping up the school year with your people. Maybe you spent more in real life time with people you love. So just let's reflect on what's been meaningful so far about the year. 3 minutes. Let's go. We're just getting warmed up. All right, bring that one to a close. Take another few seconds. And as I've said earlier, you might get going and have lots more to say. So if you do, come back to it. It's always worth it, or stick with it, either way. All right, now I want to just take a moment to pause and consider where you are in life. So the prompt is, where am I? Where am I now? So the way I think about that is, how old am I? Where am I residing? Who am I with? What am I amidst in my life? So not what's on my plate this summer. We'll get to that. This is like more like the state of my human, like where am I in time and space? So where am I now? And we're going to keep that one pretty tight. We're just going to do 1.5 minutes on that. So as I said, where am I now? So just take a moment to pause and consider where you are in life. How old are you? How old are your people? Where are you? What are you amidst? All right. 1.5 minutes on that. All right. So, yes, there's a lot more to say about that. And what I will say about that is next month, our July call of this series, we might go a little deeper into that. So, this was just as a way to put a little mark on, okay, here I am right now. So now we're going to look ahead. And the prompt is, what's on my plate this summer? And this one, we're going to take a little more time. Those were kind of warm ups. So this one is when we're going to start sinking in. So I like that as a way of thinking about what's on my plate this summer. And what I mean by that is lay out the general gist of what you have going on. So make note of what's happening in this season of life for you and your people. What's on my plate this summer? So consider again things like family, work, travel, visitors, visiting, projects, all the comings and goings, let's say. Let's go with I'm going to go 4 minutes for this. No, let's go 3.5. 3.5 minutes. What is on my plate this summer? Lay it out. right, take another 30 seconds. See if there's anything else you need to note about the summer. Just again, we're just surveying. You don't have to have anything figured out. This is just laying it all out and noticing. What are all the different pieces? So 30 seconds for that. All right, now we're going to get a little more in there. So the way I like to do that is I like to hear from the various neurological centers, let's call them, of myself, my thinking brain, my heart, my emotional thinker, and my gut, my knowing, my deeper knowing. So we're going to start with the thinking. And what I want to do by that, what I mean by that is basically I just write down, with regard to this summer, I'm thinking. And what do I mean by thinking? So it's really what's swirling in my mind. So what are all the thoughts? We're going to lay it out, and it might be, so I'm thinking, with regard to this summer, I'm thinking, it's things like, what am I appreciating about this summer? What are maybe some dreams for the summer? Are there any things you're believing about this summer? Oh, summer's hard. Maybe that's a belief that you want to put out in and just shine some light on. Maybe you have some questions or concerns about the next several months. So this time is really just to dump whatever might be hanging out up there that you might be aware of and you might not be. So open up to it. And maybe you do start with a little bit of appreciating and dreaming, and then see what stirs from there. So that one I'm going to give us also 3.5 minutes and see where it takes us. So again, I'm thinking, what's swirling, lay it out there, 3.5 minutes, go. All right. So again, you might have lots and lots and lots more to hear, but I'm going to keep us moving for time's sake. And now we're going to go on to I'm feeling. So with regard to this summer, I'm feeling, and I'll give you a couple of examples of what I mean by that. Because there's another part to this. So with regard to this summer, I'm feeling. And my question for that is what's stirring when I consider the summer ahead? And what I want to do is help you really recognize that we have a lot of different parts of ourselves, and some of them often say and feel very different things. So, for example, um, there's a part of me that values freedom and feels excited about a looser schedule this summer. There's a part of me that values being in nature. So I'm really joyfully anticipating a lot of time outside and really being thoughtful about making sure I'm really appreciating that. There's a part of me that values connection and is just thrilled to be spending like more in real life time with people, um, family and friends that are visiting, people locally. So, and there might be parts that are anxious about how it's going to go with having your kids around, like whatever's in there, just invite the feeling and then also consider what part, what do you value that might be having some emotional experiences about that. So, what's stirring when I consider the summer ahead? 3.5 minutes. Let's go. And just let yourself really lay it out there. What's stirring? Okay, another few seconds on that one. Now we're going to go a little deeper into that prompt, and I'm going to ask you, I'm going to ask all of us, I'm going to ask myself, how do I choose to feel? So the prompt is, I choose to feel. So it might be how you're already feeling about it, but it also might be a little different because this is where we start to get intentional. So as you're considering your summer, what state or states of being do you want to tap into this season? So knowing that what you have going on and considering how you are feeling, I often say it's a good way you take the bounce. So if you feel anxious about what's unfolding and what you have on your plate, then great, that's good information. Now, where do you want to be heading? What do you want to feel more of? You know, what's a way, how do I want to intentionally feel this summer? What do I value about this season? What matters? What states feel more meaningful? What states feel meaningful to tap into these next few months? So this is very different than any sort of expectations of yourself or your people. This is really the understanding that energy follows intention. And when I take the time to clarify, okay, well, how do I want to feel? Oh, interesting. I want to feel playful. I want to feel clear. I want to feel connected. Something gets set in motion that's different than when I don't take the time to ask myself, okay, how do I want to feel? And then the second part of this is about you and you. This is about you having agency over your state, which you won't all the time. But I'll speak for myself, when I have an intention for how I want to move through a season, and I have a couple things that I do to check in on that, and then I understand what I need to do to access it, I have much more of a chance of getting there than if I leave it to chance, than if I don't take agency by clarifying and letting things unfold. So it might be appreciative. It might be, I'm feeling peaceful. I'm feeling present. Could just be present. I'm more aware of myself. It doesn't matter what it is, but do the work to get a little bit of clarity on it. So let's take some time on that. We'll do another 3.5 minutes and see where it takes us. So with regard to this summer, I choose to feel. And again, this is a feeling state. So words like creative, connected, with myself, aligned. That's my word for the summer. I feel aligned. So let's take a few moments, tap in and ask yourself, if I'm thinking about myself at the end of the summer, how do I hope to look back and what do I want to say I tapped into feeling even a little bit more than usual? 3.5 minutes. Let's go. All right. Now, this one's a little bit new. I didn't even have it on my list, but I'm going with it. Um, what I'm going to have you do is pick one, two, or three. You can do more, but for our purposes of this next little prompt, I want you to pick three of the feeling states that you're going for, one, two, or three. So I'll just share. Mine are aligned, connected, and playful. So I'm writing those down. Those are some of the intentions I have for the summer. I choose to feel aligned, connected, and playful. So now what I want to do is I want to give myself a chance to understand what that is for me. So the prompt, well, the instruction is pick one, two, or three feeling states that you have complete agency over. So I'm going to say a little more about that. You do not have agency over other people feeling certain ways. You do not have agency over whether if you're experiencing them as loving you or not. You are the one that feels the things you feel. So for me, I am in complete agency over feeling aligned. I know what that feels like, and I know what I need to do to get there. I am in complete agency over feeling connected. That's on me. If I feel connected, that's inside of me. Playful, loving, joyful. So words that oh, I know how to tap into that. Or, oh, I don't know how to tap into that, but I'm curious and I'm willing to do a little experimenting this summer. So pick some feeling states that you want to access in yourself, write them down, and then describe what those feel like. So, as an example, for me, when I feel aligned, that means I feel with myself. I feel clear. I feel uplifted. I feel tuned in and turned on. I feel in awe. I feel rich and satisfied and fulfilled and open. So play around with the feeling state that you are going for, and then give yourself a little bit of description so that you know what to look for. And like, oh, I'm feeling really fulfilled right now. That feels really good. I must be in alignment. Let's just play 3 minutes on that. So the prompt is really feelings I'm going for feel like ... I'll even write that. There you go. The feelings I'm intending this summer feel like. So the good news about that, we just wrapped up those 3 minutes. The good news is the more that you spin a little bit in a good way in those feeling states, the more you're accessing them. So even when I just ask myself, oh, right, what does it feel to be aligned? Oh, it feels, and I start going in my brain and feeling in my heart and noticing in my body that everything kind of comes a little more in alignment. So in a way, just having the intention and even saying the word, whether to yourself or out loud, can really pop you in, and then you can juice it by asking yourself, okay, what does that feel like? Oh, it feels easy, it feels sweet, it feels loving, it feels uh yummy, it feels awesome, it feels regulated, whatever the words are for the things you're going for. So there's the knowing what you're going for. And now next piece is tapping into your own knowing so that you can access what gets you there. So the prompt is I'm knowing, but more specifically, what I'm wanting you to tap into in your own knowing. And what I mean by knowing, the way I understand knowing, is it's that place in myself where there's no question and there's no fear. There's just a sense of, like I know that if I'm intending to feel connected with others, that I have to be aware of what I'm doing to first connect with myself and fuel myself so that I have energy to give. And I'm knowing that if I want to feel playful, that I need to do something active, something physical, something that feels like I'm out using my body and alive in the aliveness, because that feels playful to me. So the prompt is with regard to this summer, I'm knowing, and what I specifically mean is let's tap into that wisdom in you that knows what will allow you to get in those feeling states more often this summer. So what practices get me there? That's the question you'll ask yourself. What practices allow me to access the feeling states that I want to feel? So I'm going to show you what I'm doing. I made myself see my thing. My writing is not very legible to others. But I'll just give you. So I wrote aligned. That's one of the ways I want to feel connected and playful. So I wrote that. Now I am going to write down all the things that I know get me there. So, and I'm going to invite you to think small. So one of the ways that I've come to learn how to regulate myself and learn how to show up for the way in the ways I want to show up is what I call kind of micro dosing, these little fueling practices. And it's the things that I know I can do, whether I only have a few seconds or I have minutes or I have longer, but I focus on the micro version that really help me access the state that I'm going for. So if I want to feel aligned, I know that pulling my shoulders back, taking a breath, and noticing where I am and and finding one or two things to appreciate, that can bring me back. I notice that if I want to feel connected, grounding, appreciating, making eye contact, eye to eye, skin to skin, heart to heart, that evokes a sense of connection in me. And if I'm not with others and I want to feel connected to myself, I might, put my hands on my face or put my hands on my heart and just say, oh, here I am. I'm here. Look at me. So it's having these little micro practices that allow you to tap in and get a little hit, a little bite, a little sense of the thing I'm wanting. So let's play. I would pick 1, 2, or 3 and ask yourself, what do I know will allow me to get in those feeling states more often this summer? What practices get me there? So how do I want to feel this summer? What gets me there? 3.5 minutes. Let's go. You know what? Take 4. Let's go. All right. Beautiful. So we're heading into the home stretch. We have a few more. But let me just say a couple words. So the reason that we got to where we got in terms of this knowing, the, tapping into the knowing of what gets me there, is because, for me at least, it's what allows me to show up for the events, the experiences, and maybe most importantly, no, definitely most importantly, the relationships in ways that feel meaningful and satisfying to me. So, when I know what I'm going for, when I know what feeling state feels alive, allows me to feel what I call alive in the aliveness, for that season, the season ahead. I like to take it season by season because it changes, because I want and need different things each season. So now I'm really just chunking it down into, the blocks of the season. So when I take the time to clarify, like, what is it I'm going for? What would allow for a sense of meaningfulness and satisfaction and fulfillment? Then I have an easier time really paying attention to what are these practices that will fuel that? What will allow me to tap into the state that I want to be aware of experiencing? Because if I leave it to chance, I'm not, that doesn't work for me anymore. I'm aware, I'm really aware that I need to, get in the driver's seat and be aware of how I'm creating that for myself, if that's what I'm wanting. So there's what I call the practices, fueling practices. What are the little things I'm going to take little sips of every day that are going to allow me to be a little more aware and know and clarify like how I want to operate. And then what are what I call momentum disruptors that pop me out, that wake me up, because there's a lot of momentum. It's like when I get in my phone and I'm looking at things, sometimes I have to say, pop out, shoulders back, look up and out. Is this where you really want to be right now? And usually the answer is no. If I look back on what I wrote, there wasn't anything that said spend more time on Instagram. That gets you there. It's not the worst thing, but I want to be aware of what I'm putting in and what I want to do to juice myself up so that I'm giving myself the best chance of showing up this summer for how I want it, the ways I want to show up for myself and my people. So what helps me is having things in my awareness, and I make lists and I put it on my phone and I write them on pieces of paper and I put them in my various journals, because I want to be aware of, like, if I want to feel playful this summer, okay, what's my list? What are the things that I know I can go do, so that if I have a moment and I take a pause and I pop out, I'm choosing, oh, I want to juice up that feeling right now. Okay, I'm going to go do that. And I'm not having to think like, oh, what do I do to get that feeling? It's like, oh, it's right there. I wrote it. So that's the intention of what we just did. And it's all in service to self-awareness and clarity, that the more we become self-aware of where we are and what we're going for and how close or far away we are from that, and then what gets us there, and the more clear we are, the more satisfaction we feel and the more agency we feel. And the more you do this and the more you practice this, and if you haven't done it in a long time and you're just back and you're like, oh, right, this stuff. Okay, let me make it work for me. Great. Thanks, Carrie. That was helpful. Now let me take it and run. If you've never done anything like this, great. Just wiggle into it a little bit and see how it feels this summer, having taken the time, and then come back in a month and we'll do more, and then come back in another month and do more. And if you're like, oh yeah, I really love this, I want to do more of this, then join me, because this is what I'm going to be doing, and it'll just keep deepening. And the more you take the time to pause, have somebody help you settle, get out of that momentum of the day to day, sink in. It's only been an hour and a half. It's not even that much time. It hasn't even been that long. It makes a difference. So let's take another couple of moments and get really clear. So the prompt is, what's my intention? My intention this summer is, so I'm going to write that here. My intention or intentions. And what I mean by that is what's a succinct, positive, present moment sentence or statement that you can use to remind yourself of what you're going for. So I choose alignment, connection, and playfulness. I choose love. I choose joy. I choose peace. I choose freedom. Whatever it is for you, write it clearly. My intention this summer is really dial it in. Maybe try on a few before you commit and see which one has the most sizzle, which one lands with a little clunk of like, that's it. And maybe it lands today and maybe it lands in a week, but just be open to creating a clear, succinct intention for yourself this summer. My intention this summer is go. And then go ahead right into that and say, so you know your intention now, just do a little quick recap of what gets me there. So write them again, do a couple little, what's your micro? What's the smallest thing you can do that helps you plug into that state? Like 1 second. It's, I want to feel free. Oh, I walk outside and I smell the fresh air. Oh, that evokes freedom. I want to feel playful. Move your body in a silly way. That's the smallest. It doesn't mean you won't do more, but give yourself a chance to feel the state that you want to feel. 2 minutes for that. All right. So Let's do one more 3-minute-er and then I will open it up. I'd love to hear from some of you if anybody wants to share. But we're going to do future writing. So one of my all-time favorite pieces of this kind of process is to fast forward in my mind to the end of the summer. You can choose a date. You could say September 15th, just as a knowing the summer's over. And tell the story of how it unfolded. Think about the intentions you set, the practices that you were more aware of, the things that happened, and maybe how you showed up for them. Again, you and your people, you and your world. So 3 minutes, let's just take a little drive around the best case scenario of how it unfolds and really allow your dreamer and your what if up and your imagining the best possible sense of things to play. So the way I start this is to write, it's September 15th. Summer is over and holy moly, life is ... How do I want to say that? And holy moly, ... You go from there. It's September 15th, summer is over, and holy moly, let's see what happened. Play around. And the point of that is to feel as good as you can right now, imagining the best case scenario for that time based on what you just wrote and what you now know about what you want to pay attention to. 3 minutes, go. All right, then I just left a last little couple of prompts. And this is something that I'm going to put in a journal that I use that I have, and I will probably also put it on my phone. It's my intention for this summer. So this summer I choose, I'm going to write my 3 words: align, connect, play. I'm going to write what those 3 things feel like in me. And then I'm going to write what gets me there. And I have a coaching client that I'm working with right now. And what she realized in herself was that in order to show up in the ways that she wanted to show up for herself and her people this summer, she needed to be getting up earlier. And her 4 things were breathe, move, appreciate, intend. And so she is now working on how to really integrate that in, whether it's for 10 seconds at the beginning of the day or a minute in the afternoon before she shifts gears with her people, or at the end of the day when she's going to bed and is just wanting to settle and get more present and relax. So takeaways: this summer I choose what it feels like. How do you know you're there? And then what gets me there? What's one little micro thing that I know if I do that, I'm going to feel a little more of what I'm looking for. So take a minute and do that. And then I'm going to wrap us up and open it up if in case anybody wants to talk, but we will be officially done with the call once we do the little takeaway. So give yourself 1 minute on that. It should be pretty quick at this point. All right. Wow. Hour and a half flew by, as it always does. Thank you. I'm so grateful that you all were here and that we did this together. It always makes a difference for me, and I hope it was valuable for you. So on that note, if you're done, feel free to go. If you want to stay, if you have a quick question for me or you want to comment, I'll stick around for a few minutes and we can connect. But just remember, there's another one July 8th, same time. And that'll be a little different, but also similarly getting you in there. And then there'll be one August 12th. So please join me. I hope you do. All right, I'm opening it up. You can raise your hand or just jump in if you want to say something or put something in the chat. Does anybody want to share their intentions for the summer? I'd love to hear. Alicia said, thank you. It was truly helpful. You're so welcome. I'm glad you were here.
Perry.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Okay.
I chose my words were delighted, serene, and clear.
Okay.
I was able to do micros, mediums, and macros for all of them, but not for clarity.
Ooh.
I don't know what is a macro thing that I can do to find clarity.
If it were me, it would be appreciating.
Appreciating. I put that for delight, for feeling delighted too.
Totally.
It could be the same for all of them.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like for me, going outside does all of it. I feel aligned. I feel connected. I feel playful. Like,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
okay.
They can mix and match. And the best is when they stack upon each other, so that it's like, find that, for some, it might be one breath could get you all there.
Perfect. Easy.
Amazing. Beautiful. Thank you. Anybody else?
I was just thinking, hi, Carrie, it's Pamela.
Hi, Pamela.
Hi. So I was just thinking, doing these clarity things are like macros for clarity for me, just in response to what she was saying.
Yeah.
But my 3, and I'm still kind of refining it, but I have like the feeling of feeling resourced. And also connected is one of my mainstays. Sometimes I put deeply connected in there.
Yep.
And then joyful was the other one.
I love those. Yeah, my word, one of my things this spring was feeling fulfilled, which meant fully resourced, fully fueled. So I love that. I love that feeling of like, I'm like topped off. Yeah. Fully fueled. Like I love that
Nice.
idea of like, I've done what I need to do to access a little more energy. And now it's just spilling over and I can, so for me, connected is foundational to feeling connected to others is that I've done what I need to do to feel connected to myself, which is get outside, move around and do a little writing. And if I only have 1 second to do that, I'm still going to try to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I did those micros for each one, challenging myself to try and do it in like just a few seconds. Because my thing is like, oh, I need hours for that one. So that was a great challenge. And I think it's going to work. I think it's going to be super helpful. Thank you so much. I live for these calls.
Me too. I love them. I do this stuff all the time. It's just so fun to do it with others. So thank you. I'm so glad you were here. Anybody else? I'm just going to see. One of you said, I loved it. I choose feeling empowered, joyful, and appreciative. I move my body, get present, and breathe deeply, sending love as a generosity of spirit. I feel it, Linnell. Thank you. Anybody stuck or need a little coaching around anything that is still sticky about this? And again, if it was new, it might not have been as smooth and easy. Some of these people here have been with me for a really long time doing this, and it does just take a lot of practice. And somebody said, it's amazing to know what writing prompts can bring about. I know, I agree. Every day I'm like shocked that it always gets me something. Always, never a time it doesn't get me something. This person said, I hit more blank spots than I expected. Yep, I agree. I know that place. It's just a muscle that we have to keep working and keep listening and being open to what's there because we're not necessarily tuned to that all the time. Another thank you for the writing exercises. You're so welcome. All right. Unless anybody has anything else, let's go play. Let's go have our days. Like I said, I am going to be doing this July 8th, which will be right before my 52nd birthday. So please join me. And it'll be fun. It'll be different. It'll be rich. And then, if anybody's looking for coaching this summer, I have some spots available. So reach out. I love what I do. I love helping people get into themselves, know and trust themselves deeply. That's my thing. And I love playing. So let's go. All right, my friends, go off. Have a great month. Come back next month. I would love it. And reach out if you want to share anything or if you want to chat about coaching. And there'll be a lot more about where we're heading in the fall next time. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Happy summer. Mwah. So much love. Bye.